Hello? You ever had hair so matted and gross that you had to cut a hair tie out of it? Because I just had that happen to me. Not this hair tie, but I just got a fresh hair trim today because it was stuck at the bottom of it. Alright, friends. Welcome again to my bathroom for this part's Patron exclusive episode. So here's the deal. You're gonna be watching this now, but I'm not sure if it'll be uploaded in time for the actual 15th. I apologize in advance. I do have a funeral to go to on the 15th. It is the 14th now. I don't know if I'll have this edited and uploaded by tomorrow. And tomorrow I'll be spending all day at my great aunt's funeral. So, bear with me for that. Hopefully it'll be up before the weekend. Doing the best I can. Okay, so with all that being said, welcome. Thank you for being patrons. You get a different view of my bathroom. This is the other side. The podcast closet is over there, and this is the other side of my bathroom. It's just, you know, it's a cool place to hang out, and I figure I'm just gonna keep changing it up. Although I have too much shit on this section, so I don't want to like record that way, and also my mirror's over here. So this is how we're gonna do it. I'm just gonna keep alternating between who gets what side of my. Figured I'd change it up, you know, keep it light, keep it interesting. Let me make all my font bigger because I took off my glasses, so I didn't. Cause like here, I'll show you. Also, I did my eye makeup today, so why would I want to wear glasses? But the ring light, you can see it, and that's annoying. So if I make the font extra big, I can read fine. Also, sorry if you hear any background noises. My boyfriend is washing dishes. We just ate dinner. I also realized, okay, sorry, this is like a really weird video because I'm real pausey, but I know I'm going to edit it out, and it's also 2 minutes in, but I noticed how squirky this chair is, so I've been trying to make fart noises all the time. Oh, right, so today we're going to be talking about Dana Sue Gray. Which, once again, I didn't know who she was. I love these. I love finding ones that I'm like, I don't know who they are. So Dana Sue Gray was born as Dana Sue Armbrust on December 6, 1957. She was born in SoCal to parents Beverly and Russell Armbrust. Russell was married 3 times before he landed on Beverly, who was a former beauty queen. And Russell was working as a hairdresser, which is, at the time, an interesting profession for a male. So, like, we stan him. He's good. The couple had several miscarriages before having Dana. Beverly, Dana's mother, was described as a vain, aggressive woman who frequently maxed out her husband's credit cards and once throttled an older woman during an argument. Apparently, she got mad at an old lady and just fucking throttled her, which is an interesting move to make, but okay. Which ultimately was the reason why Russell divorced Beverly. Which mood. So Dana was only 2 when her parents split, and after the divorce she rarely saw her father. Because of this, she was known as a child, she would steal money out of her mom's we're gonna edit that out because I'm an idiot. She would act out in fits of rage against her mom, and she would also steal money from her mom's wallet to buy candy, and threw fits of rage when she didn't get what she wanted. Dana notably didn't get along with anybody else while she was in school and performed poorly in all of her classes. She was suspended on several occasions for forging notes from her mom to get out of school. At 14, Dana found out her mom had breast cancer. This leads her to pursue a career in nursing after she watched her mother's nurses caring for her. Beverly dies, and when she does, Dana goes to live with her father. However, this move is short-lived because Dana is kicked out shortly after when Russell's new wife finds drugs in Dana's room. Dana graduated from high school in 1976. Then Dana started a relationship with a skydiving instructor whom she lived with for a few years after she graduated high school. He helped her through nursing school, from which she graduated in 1981. She got pregnant twice, but was forced to end both pregnancies both times. After she graduated nursing school, she had an on and off relationship with a windsurfer. She was skilled in skydiving, windsurfing, and golf, and took frequent trips to Hawaii to participate in such activities. In October 1987, she married a guy named Tom Gray in a lavish wedding in an upscale winery. He had known her since high school and had harbored a crush for her the majority of that time, so kind of high school sweethearts. Quickly after their marriage, though, Dana racked up a lot of debt. She wasn't talking to her family because of an argument over her aunt's last will and testament. Dana was a labor and delivery nurse. She and Tom lived in a gated community and owned several business ventures. Dana, however, left Tom in 1993 to move in with her lover, whose name was Jim Wilkins, and his son. In June 1993, she filed for divorce against Tom, and around this time, Dana also lost her job as a nurse. She filed for bankruptcy and was cited that she was $215,000 in debt. There's some change there involved too, but over $215,000 in debt. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. Just, I don't know how you rack up that much debt. I don't understand how anybody, like, I have student loan debt, I bought a house, and I have some just errant credit card debt, and like, dude, none of that comes even close to $250,000, even with all three of those things combined, and the fact that you could have that much just from spending money. Now, I'm not the most frugal of individuals, nor am I the most, business savvy. I'm awful at saving money, and I'm awful at like keeping track of money, but I'm better than that, and like that's saying something, I guess. That makes me feel just like a touch better about my own life, because like clearly I understand. I'm like a little bit better than that. So she was with so she divorced Tom. Let's recap. Sorry, I went on a little sidebar tangent. She divorced Tom, was dating this guy named Jim. Named Jim, and filed for bankruptcy. She also lost her job as a nurse. So just like recapping, she's got a lot going on. This girl has a lot of things happening right now. And I feel like now's the time I should include a picture of her, right? Yeah, why not? Here, I'll move over. This is where Jana's gonna edit a picture in here later. So here is Dana. Very trustworthy of myself and my editing capabilities, but there she is. So she, after all those things had happened, she lost her house, and she also suffered a miscarriage from Jim, I'm assuming, which was particularly scarring to her because she had already she already had 2 abortions because of her skydiving boyfriend, and now she had a miscarriage, so obviously she wasn't in like the best place. So Dana took after her mother in the sense that she was incredibly materialistic, and these things would have been an incredible hit to her psyche. So she was really just like a younger version of her mom. And I mean, if you look at the dynamic of where she grew up in, she might not have had like the strongest male figures, at least in her own mind. Like, it sounds like her dad was a pretty alright guy who was just trying to do what he could, and her mom was a materialistic one. I mean, she did, quote, throttle an old woman, and like, I don't know what kind of special you have to be, like, that's a special form of rage. In the circumstances, I don't even know the circumstances. I don't think it's ever okay to throttle an old woman. Is like, you know, unless like she's kicking your dog and you're like, no, punch. Like, I can't think of a reason why I'd fight an old lady unless like she was hurting Penny or something. Like, you know, I just don't see a good reason to do that, and I don't think that's what happened, so I can't say I'd defend her mom on that. And so I guess if that's who she's taking after and who she's learning from. Dana didn't have the best female, you know, influence. That's the word I'm looking for. Not the best female influence. Okay. So, yes. On Valentine's Day 1994, Dana tried to get a hold of her husband through his parents, because I don't think they were officially divorced. Like, they were still together. Dana tried to get a hold of her husband through his parents, and he had effectively blocked her from knowing where he was. So he had gone out of his way, which was 1994, way easier to block people out of your lives then than it is now. because I don't know if you ever tried to get rid of somebody in your life that you didn't want to be in your life anymore, but let me tell you from personal experience, it's very difficult because people can get different phone numbers. If they have your phone number, they can, you know, sign up for a bunch of different phone numbers. They can figure out where you live. They can go out of their way to just try to get into your life. And I know this from personal experience because I did for a minute have a stalker, and luckily she's not in my life anymore. Thank fucking God. So I do know how hard it is, and, you know, about, what is it? Why did I have to look? 2018, roughly, to, you know, get rid of somebody who you don't fucking want in your life anymore. So 1994 was much easier because, you know, they didn't have cell phones. They didn't have, like, the GPS tracking we have now. They didn't have social media. Like, you could kind of just fall off the radar if you wanted to. So, however, you know, Tom went out of his way to fall off the radar, and the only way Dana could get a hold of him was through his parents, because that's the only phone number she still had, and apparently they didn't try to fall off the earth like he did. Which, if I were married to somebody and they racked up $200,000+ in debt, I don't think I'd want to talk to them anymore either. Just try to move on with your life. It seems like just fuck off and I'm going to do my own thing, right? But that's a personal preference, I guess. She had said she wanted to meet with Tom, and he had actually originally agreed to meet her, but when they agreed to meet, Tom never showed up. At some point, Dana turns her sights on an 86-year-old woman named Norma Davis. Norma wasn't random to Dana. Norma was the mother-in-law. Okay, so this is a little convoluted. Norma was the mother-in-law of the woman who married Dana's dad in 1988. So you remember the stepmom that kicked Dana out of the house for having drugs in her room? This is her mother-in-law. It's a little convoluted, but it makes sense if you like do the calculation, right? Her name was Jerry. I had to specify that. It was going to get really confusing. Her name was Jerry. Jerry's first husband was Norma's son, Bill. And after Bill died, Jerry remarried Russell Armbrust, which was Dana's dad. So, yeah. Convoluted story. She's not a random stranger. Norma is involved in this story. So I tried to do the math on this, and I wrote this down because it was a little confusing for me as well, and I did like the writing. I did like a family tree chart thing, and it appears that Norma was Dana's step-grandma once removed. Sure. Take it however you want. I'm not sure. That's close enough. They were kind of sort of related by marriage, but not really related at all. My comment. Jerry still took care of Norma, even after her husband's passing, which honestly is really fucking nice of her. You know, she didn't have to take care of Norma, but she did anyway. She was being a good person at taking care of her ex-mother-in-law. Yeah, taking care of her ex-mother-in-law. So accounts said because of this, Dana and Norma knew each other relatively well, and on February 16th, Norma Davis was found dead by a neighbor. Autopsy reports showed that she had been dead for 2 days, so she was murdered on February 14th, Valentine's Day, the day that Tom and Dana were supposed to meet. Norma Davis had a utility knife sticking out of her neck and a fillet knife sticking out of her chest. There was no forced entry to the house, and the only defensive wound Norma suffered was a broken fingernail. Investigators learned that Norma always had her door locked unless she was expecting a visitor. There was a Nike shoe print in the kitchen. There was a smear of blood found on the armchair, and the phone cord had been ripped out. It is important to note that Norma Davis lived in the same private, upscale gated community that Dana and Tom had lived in. Dana Sue Gray was never convicted for this crime due to lack of evidence. So not to ruin the plot twist for you, Dana killed her, but was never convicted of it. Told you a secret. Cool. So Tom Gray later found out that Dana had taken out a massive life insurance policy on him, which would have been great enough to pay off their home in the event of his death. So half of her $215,000 would have been paid off by, Tom dying, which I could assume is why she wanted to meet him the day she murdered Norma. Just a thought. Okay, so on February 28th, 1994, June Roberts, who was 66 years old, was killed. It was her 66th birthday. Which is really fucked. That's really awful. Dana had visited June under the pretense of borrowing a book for controlling a drinking problem. Well, cheers to that, I suppose. June let Dana in her home, and Dana strangled her with the curly part of a corded foam. Dana then stole 2 of June's credit cards and maxed them out at an upscale shopping center. On March 10th, Dana attacks 57-year-old woman named Dorinda Hawkins at her antique store. Hawkins was alone in the store that day, and Dana entered. Dana, after browsing around for a little bit, attempted to strangle Hawkins with a telephone cord. Dana stole $5 from Hawkins' purse and $20 from the cash register. Dana took the money and June Roberts' credit cards and went shopping. However, Dorinda Hawkins survived her attack and was able to give police a great description of Dana Sue Gray. So you know what's fucked? Almost getting strangled to death for $25. Like, this person who attacked you, shopping addiction is so insane, she would strangle you for $25. Seriously? $25. That's all you got out of it. You went out of your way to fucking strangle somebody for $25. Like, that is just... I would give you $25 not to strangle me. How about that? Fuck, I'll give you $50. Just don't strangle me, right? Like, I guess if that's what it comes down to, $25? Speechless. Absolutely speechless. So she didn't die, though. Dorinda Hawkins does not die. She is safe and sound. $25 poorer, but I think at the end of the day, once again, I'd rather not have $25 and still be alive. On March 16th, Dana killed 87-year-old Dora Beebe. Beebe had just come home from a doctor's appointment, and Dana pulled up to her home asking for directions. Dora invited Dana in to look at a map, and when Dana got inside, she killed Dora. Dora was found by her boyfriend while Dana was out maxing Dora's credit cards. Quality human. Before the attack on Dorinda Hawkins, police weren't sure of their suspect. They didn't know if it was a serial killer or a string of ritualistic killings. In the case of Norma Davis, police initially suspected Jerry Armbrust, which is just bananas that she would expect Jerry to do that. They thought that her behavior was weird. And that's strange. Like, you're taking care of your, which I'm pretty sure Jerry had been widowed, like her husband had died, and then she married Norma's dad. So, okay, like, it's not like they broke up in a nasty divorce and, like, you're still taking care of the mom. Her son passed away. It's like, just because her son passed away doesn't mean you can't have a relationship with a mom anymore. That doesn't make any sense. Like, that just seems weird, that they would think that was weird. Like, you're still taking care of them. There's obviously, why would you take care of a woman you didn't have to take care of? There's no weird ulterior motives to that, at least in my opinion. I'd be like, wow, that's really respectable of her to take care of her widowed husband's mom, right? I guess it's just me. On the day of the murder, she'd been wearing Nikes, and police thought it was weird that she was taking care of a person who wasn't a blood relative. And I mean, she matched some other things, but it went to the case that she had admitted to being there the day of Norma's murder, which explains why her footprints were, like, in there. They weren't, like, blood-soaked footprints. Her feet were in the house because she had taken care of the mom. But luckily, thank God for Jerry, police realized they were in the wrong for suspecting her after enough interviews. They actually became friends with Jerry. And she became pivotal in solving this case. The lead detective was a guy named Joe Greco. He suspected that June Roberts and Norma Davis were connected, and concluded that the work was of one female serial killer. Because of this relationship with Jerry Armbrust, Dana Gray became a potential suspect. Based on interviews with shop owners, which I'll talk about later, police knew that a person using a stolen credit card had recently dyed her hair and lived with a little boy named Jason. Jerry was able to tell the police that, in fact, Dana had recently dyed her hair and her boyfriend had a son named Jason. Joe Greco was able to get a search warrant for Dana's residence, and ironically, Dana was arrested the day she killed Dora Beebe, as Joe Greco was waiting for her on her front porch and took her into custody for the murder of June Roberts. Which sucks that she wasn't arrested before the murder, but I mean, luckily she was arrested before she could do any more damage. I mean, yeah, like, it sucks that Dora had to die, but I mean, at least at the end she got caught. I mean, what can you hope for? Oh, I almost threw my laptop on the ground. That would have been very, very bad. The search of Dana's home and person provided information for the murder of June Roberts, Dora Beebe, and to Greco's surprise, the attack of Dorinda Hawkins. And Dorinda Hawkins was able to ID Dana in a photo lineup. Because of the evidence against her, Dana eventually pled to life without the possibility of parole and waived all her abilities to appeal. I guess if you, at least in her case, if she waived all those rights to appeal, she would avoid the death penalty. She, however, didn't want to be prosecuted for the murder of Norma Davis. Joe Greco was the lead detective for the Norma Davis and June Roberts case, but a man named Chris Antoniadis, which is totally butchered, I don't know how to say that last, Antoniadis, final answer, was in charge of the Dora Beebe case, and he was able to interview Dana after Joe was done. He attempted to get Dana to confess for her crime, but she refused, no matter what tactic he used. He was able to charge her with murder, though, based on Dora Beebe's credit cards in Dana's possession. And they were found with Joe Greco's search warrant. So luckily, Joe interrogated Dana and was able to get her to confess. So whatever, she confessed to all of it except for Norma Davis's murder. And then Chris Antoniadis came in for the Dora Beebe case, and he was not as lucky as getting her to confess. She refused to confess, but luckily, in Joe Greco's search warrant, they found Dora Beebe's credit cards, so fuck you. You're going to jail, bitch. So evidence eventually used against Dana more or less came down to her spending. She was caught with credit cards of all of her victims, and police were able to go to the places she shopped and ID her. So they just went to random stores that were on the credit cards and was like, is this lady who spent this much money? And they're like, yep, it was. So, joke's on you, idiot. Like, you stupid. People are so stupid. June Roberts' family was actually alerted because of the activity on her credit card, and the massive spending set off red flags. When confronted with that evidence, which my story is lackluster in this one because, you know, she confesses. I should have told you this earlier. But she stuck up until the very end with the story that she had found the credit cards. She stuck with that story up until she didn't anymore. She said she found the credit cards. And that's why they were in her possession. So we know that Dana more or less took a plea deal to avoid the death penalty with Joe Greco, but Chris Antoniadis wasn't able to obtain a confession and charged Dana with murder. In this case, though, the DA requested the death penalty. So you should have just confessed and made another plea deal, but you didn't because you're stupid. And so she got the death penalty, or the DA requested the death penalty. Dana pleaded insanity. Why do people always do that? Just, not even gonna, nope. She pleaded insanity, which is evidence built up against her. She changed her plea to guilty of robbing and murdering 2 women and attempting to murder another. And by doing this, she avoided the death penalty. On October 16th, 1998, Dana Gray was sentenced to life without parole, and she is currently 62 years old and incarcerated in the California Women's Prison in Chowchilla. She is sometimes known as the Pampered Killer, and known as a shopaholic, where her insatiable need to spend money drove her to kill. That, my friends, is Dana Sue Gray. And that's all I have. Hopefully you get this on the 15th. I have to go get ready to go to bed, because I have a funeral to go to tomorrow. So with that, goodbye.